Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the Commonwealth commemorated the deaths from the COVID-19 pandemic as yesterday marked the 4-year anniversary. And the Attorney General is asking a circuit court to reconsider the death penalty for Benny Lee Hodge.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 5:30 on Thursday, March 7th. Now let's check in with meteorologist Mace Michaels for a look at your forecast this morning.
Looking at a cloudy sky here across the area, Olivia. Kind of foggy in some areas. Definitely a dreary start to the day, but it's pretty warm. We have a temperature right now of 46 degrees. We'll look for that cloud cover to stick around throughout most of the day today. The weather pattern will remain unsettled here right on into the weekend with on and off showers and even a few thunder showers. Next week, though, is looking dry and looking very mild for us. Comfortable temperatures down the road. Let's check our temperatures this morning, though, and you step outside from Hazard northward through Pikeville and Clintwood. Temps are in the 40s. Southward, we're seeing 50-degree readings closer to the Tennessee line and down to Jacksboro. Pikeville, your visibility down at 3/4 of a mile and 3/4 around Jackson. A little bit of fog in spots, definitely a lot of clouds. Satellite radar shows all of the rain from yesterday. Now we're just left over with the clouds. I don't think we'll see much clearing today, and there is more moisture back to our west in the upper Midwest, down through the southern plains. The forecast for today, clouds stick around, temperatures in the upper 50s. Full forecast, Olivia, we do show a drying trend, but the weekend looks to start wet.
All right, Mace, thank you. An emotional day for many Kentuckians. Yesterday marked 4 years since Kentucky reported its first COVID case. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton reports, Governor Andy Beshear and others gathered Wednesday afternoon in Frankfort to remember those we've lost.
Bells were rung to mark the number of deadly cases of COVID-19 during the pandemic. And Wednesday, Candy Atkinson rang a bell 120 times for each county in the state, a symbol of a virus that impacted everyone.
It really brings back even more powerful memories. I imagine even more so for the governor and his immediate staff who heard that every day in this very rotunda.
March 6, 2020 was when Beshear announced the first confirmed case of COVID. From there, it would escalate to more than 19,000 deaths in the state and a drastic change in the way of life.
This is one of the most historical events that any of us have lived through. And so marking today, not running from it, but talking about it is really important.
It's going to take us time.
A lot was said about the governor's daily briefings. Leroy Mitchell says those gave him hope and motivation.
I drew upon his strength in how he was dealing with the COVID pandemic to help me not give up.
Virginia Moore also became a big part of the briefings. Moore passed away 10 months ago today.
A lot of other states got communication because Virginia made a face on TV, and they all loved her. The dynamic duo became famous nationally.
And we just repeated over and over that we were going to get through it, and we were going to get through it together. And I think as the months went by that we knew we were strong enough. And
Beshear also signed a proclamation naming March 6, 2024 as a day of compassion. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Governor Beshear says the COVID memorial beside the state capitol building is the only one of its kind in the country. The service was supposed to be held there, but was moved indoors because of the weather. Community members gathered to pray for an EMT injured in a weekend crash on the Mountain Parkway. Alex Wells was taken to UK hospital after police say she was ejected from the ambulance. A patient in the ambulance, Deborah Akers of Elkhorn City, died. Folks gathered in Prestonsburg last night to pray for Wells. Family friend and organizer Megan Hamilton says Wells needs the support.
Alex is a single mom. She has a 3-year-old little girl. She was in the ambulance crash the other day, which of course she was not expecting. Family has to travel over 100 miles back and forth to her in the hospital.
Hamilton says Wells faces a long road ahead of her with potentially several surgeries. She says they have raised $12,000 in donations for Wells and her family so far. A former teacher charged with rape pleaded not guilty yesterday. Brian Wesley Bailey was arraigned in the Letcher County Circuit Courtroom. Bailey is charged with third-degree rape, 3 counts of possession of child abuse materials, and tampering with physical evidence. Bailey was a teacher at Whitesburg Middle School. A bond hearing for Bailey is set for March 27th. Testimony yesterday from Campbellsville police about a murder on the university campus. A detective laid out the timeline of events to find Charles Escalera. He's accused of strangling Josiah Kilman to death in Kilman's dorm nearly 2 weeks ago. Escalera is charged with murder. We still don't know a motive, but police say Escalera admitted to committing the crime 3 times. Both were members of the Campbellsville University wrestling team. State police are looking for a missing Perry County woman. They say 51-year-old Brenda Noble Bells left her home on Margaret Lane in Avon Monday. Police were told she suffers from mental illness and might have been trying to walk to Big Lots in Hazard. If you have any information, you should call state police at 606-435-6069. 2 deadly fires in Southwest Virginia are under investigation. The first happened Monday in Big Stone Gap. The body of 57-year-old Jimmy Kennedy was found in an outbuilding that was used as a woodworking shop. The second fire happened Tuesday at a home in Grundy. 53-year-old Christopher Hensley was found dead near the front entrance. Investigators say neither fire appears to be suspicious. A Corbin woman died after a crash in Madison County yesterday. The coroner identified the woman as 23-year-old Taylor Baltimore. Police say her car crossed the center line of I-75 near exit 87. She was taken to UK Hospital where she died. Police say 1 other person was hurt. Police believe wet road conditions caused the wreck. Attorney General Russell Coleman is asking the 6th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals to reconsider a panel decision to throw out the death sentence for Benny Lee Hodge. Hodge was convicted of murdering Tammy Acker and trying to murder her father, Dr. Roscoe Acker, in Letcher County nearly 40 years ago. Coleman says Hodge and his co-defendant posed as FBI agents to get into the family's home. Once inside, they tied up the victims, forced Dr. Acker to open his safe, strangled him until he lost consciousness, and stabbed Tammy at least 10 times with a kitchen knife. According to the Kentucky Department of Corrections, Tammy Akers' death is not the only murder on Hodge's rap sheet. According to the department's website, Hodge received a second death sentence in 1996 for the murder and robbery of Bessie and Edwin Morris in their home in Greyhawk. The Republican-led House of Representatives has voted to override Governor Andy Beshear's veto of a controversial bill. It's one that nullifies Lexington's recent ban on source of income discrimination. And an hour later, the Senate did the same. Grayson Passmore tells us why some state leaders say this won't be the last of veto overrides. We'll see this session.
An ordinance to ban landlords from rejecting people based on how they pay rent in Lexington will not be taking effect, as the Republican-led state legislature voted to override Governor Beshear's veto of House Bill 18.
This is the first of what we feel will be several in the process of veto overrides.
Just last month, the Lexington Urban County Council passed a ban on source of income discrimination. It would not require landlords to take vouchers, but it would prevent them from discriminating against the use of them in advertisings and listings. Since HB 18 contains an emergency clause, the bill takes effect immediately, meaning Lexington's ban is null and void.
The city of Louisville and the city of Lexington have a homeless problem directly related to their bad policies that they've passed. And if they want to look at what is one of the problems for lack of housing or bad housing, A lot of people in those two cities need to look in the mirror.
The sponsor of a similar bill in the Senate, Stephen West of Paris, says they have a vested interest in keeping the state's real estate laws intact.
And anything passed at the lower level that we feel conflicts with the Constitution, we have not only a right but an obligation to counteract that.
Section 8 is designed to achieve two noble requirements.
Senator Reggie Thomas of Lexington spoke out against the bill, saying housing vouchers assist people who don't have high income levels to obtain decent housing.
Again, it's a step up for poor people who want, again, to rise out of poverty.
At the Capitol, Greason Passmore, WKYT.
Kentucky policy is raising concerns about a bill they say could lead to thousands of people losing SNAP benefits. House Bill 367 would change food stamp eligibility, restricting who qualifies for SNAP. Those against the bill say it would impact more than just families who need help paying for food. The bill is up for a vote in a Senate committee. House Bill 367 has already passed in the House. It is Read Across America Week, highlighting the importance of students learning to love to read at an early age. This week, students at Roy G. Eversole Elementary discussed the importance of reading, did special Dr. Seuss related crafts, ate green eggs and ham, and also welcomed in guests to read to their classes. Principal Derek Allen says it is an exciting week for the students.
Just a fun time to really highlight the love of reading and try to instill the love of reading with our students, and just highlight how important it is and how it crosses barriers and helps you learn just all together.
Read Across America Week is celebrated every year at the 1st of March. It revolves around beloved author Dr. Seuss's birthday. And still to come, former President Obama and the History Channel are coming together to create their own podcast.